joining us for our September edition of ExtraHop TL. Testy leaf peepers demand resplendence. Love that for fall. I obviously missed the plaid memo this morning. This is your quick refresh of what you may have missed in cybersecurity. I'm Ashley Stewart.
Hello, everyone. I'm Paul Diddy.
And I'm Justin Carter, and we're here to recount some interesting stories from ExtraHop and other cybersecurity industry leaders so that you don't have to. Everything we talk about today will be available on our blog, and we'll include a link at the end of the broadcast.
That's right. So let's get started with an event that's currently in progress at the time of this recording, CrowdStrike Falcon.
Yes, at the time of this recording, Falcon will be well underway. For those of you who are watching this after the fact and were in attendance, we hope you got to see some cool stuff, like, for example, one of the live demos at booth 504.
That's right. And maybe you even attended a speaking session like the one held by our head of services, Raf Los, called Big Trouble in Little Sock, Leveraging Technology in a Small Ops Footprint.
Or perhaps you attended our other session starring Senior Product Marketing Manager Chase Snyder, called How XDR Gets Real, Stop Advanced Threats with Network and Endpoint Intelligence.
But who are we kidding? You probably did all of these things and had a great time hanging out with the ExtraHop crew. And now you know so much more about RevealX and our integration partnership with CrowdStrike.
That's right. But in case you need a quick refresher, you can head over to our integration partners page to learn more about that. And you can also check out Chase's recording of that webinar, which is on the website now.
Awesome. Can't wait to watch that. Well, speaking of security, Gartner recently released their newest edition of the Hype Cycle for Security Operations. There's a lot to take away from this report, including the top challenges for SecOps and biggest trends.
That's right. One highlight includes their high rating of extended detection and response strategies, or XDR, which is also what you get when you integrate ExtraHop and CrowdStrike. Well, now there is something pretty interesting.
Interesting indeed. It also discusses the rise of the Cybersecurity Mesh Architecture, or CSMA, yes, more acronyms, which is defined by Gartner as an approach to enabling secure, centralized security operations and oversight that emphasizes composable, independent security monitoring, analytics and enforcement, centralized intelligence and governance, and a common identity fabric.
If you couldn't tell from that definition, it has a ton of information. So to help you better understand this report, we've put together a blog to guide you through the most interesting parts. You can download a copy and check out that companion story on our website.
And now it's time for Threat of the Month. And this month, we're talking about SQL injection attacks.
A SQL injection is a common hacking technique which can compromise a database by injecting a SQL command or code fragment into a legitimate data field, such as a password. Attackers can use SQL to communicate directly with the database. This is possible because SQL does not differentiate between the control and the data plane.
Right. So a successful exploit can trick the database into sharing restricted data, modifying the data, or shutting it down altogether. Attackers can also send commands to the operating system.
And by sending payloads to a server, an attacker can observe a web application's response and reconstruct the database based on the server's behavior. This is called inferential or blind SQL injection. Limiting
the ways that queries are made to the database can close the loopholes that attackers use. Stored procedures are able to combat SQL injection attacks by limiting the types of statements that can affect the database.
And because SQL injection attacks usually originate from HTTPS over port 443 with encryption protocols such as TLS, it's really important to have decryption capabilities for all common encryption protocols like TLS 1.3 and Kerberos.
That's right. Decryption in this situation is like firing a lazy Hollywood producer. That's one less SQL you have to worry about.
Now let's take a look at some cyber news around the internet. First up, the aforementioned Chase Snyder joined our friends at Security Weekly podcast to talk about why and how vendors should work together to enable better integrated security for their customers.
Chase also answers questions like, what is XDR and how do I get my vendors to work together? It's a great conversation about breaking down silos and encouraging teamwork. So head over to their page to listen to that.
That's right. And finally, our friends over at Dark Reading have published a blog about the enterprise's journey into zero trust. They explain that regardless of how advanced or early the implementations are, every organization is on the same path.
That's right. They break this journey down into 5 distinct phases and state that what's most important is to take stock of business goals and their context to prioritize the areas that minimize risk and drive productivity and efficiency for the organization.
In other words, teamwork. Let's all work together to make the cyber world a better place for all. That's going to do it for this month's TLDR. I'm Ashley Stewart.
I'm Paul Diddy.
And I'm Justin Carter, and you can find all the stories that we discussed today on our blog by heading to the link below, extrahop.com/TLDR.
We'll be back next month for more stories and all things cybersecurity.
Thanks for joining us, and stay safe out there.